briolette and seed bead strung necklace. We've got bead stringing wire, and we got this in the jewelry section at the craft store. You could get it at a bead store. We chose 19 strand. Bead stringing wire comes in a couple different sizes. 19 strand is kind of the Goldilocks, right in the middle, perfect weight and not too expensive. And we chose a gold color for this project. That means the wire itself is kind of goldish. And we're going to use seed beads and these briolettes. The seed beads are size 15/0, and it says that on the package. It's a very small seed bead. And then our briolettes, which are also called pear beads or teardrop beads, these are drilled through the top. You can see kind of a straight line there where the drill hole is. And these are just glass. We have 24 of these, and they're 10 millimeters by 10 millimeters. For a clasp, we have this pretty gold toggle clasp. And to put the clasp on, we're going to use clamshell bead tips and gold crimp beads. Don't confuse these gold crimp beads with these gold seed beads. We're going to keep these separate. Those are glass and these are metal. For tools, we have wire cutters, and then we also have chain nose pliers. And we have some masking tape, and that's a trick we're going to show you. To get started, we'll want to cut a piece of the bead stringing wire, and I've already cut a piece. This piece is about 23 inches long, and the necklace we're making is going to be 17 inches long. It's going to sit high on the neck. That's called a princess length. And we're going to use about an inch of that will be the clasp, and the rest will be beads. So to put the beads on, we're going to start with a little trick, and that's the masking tape. We're going to take a little piece of masking tape, put it on the end of our wire. This is our bead stringing wire here. And that's going to keep the beads from sliding off the other end. We don't have to put the clasp on yet. We can do all the beads first. And to do the design that we did for this necklace, we're going to do a bunch of seed beads, and then we're going to stick in a couple briolettes every now and then. And to start with, we want to do about 2 1/4 inches of seed beads in the back. This will be the back of the necklace where the clasp is. You could put more briolettes back there, but it's going to be behind your neck, and it was just going to get hidden. So we thought it would be better to do about 2 1/4 inches of seed beads in the back. So we're going to start with that. And to feed the seed beads on, I just dumped some of them in my palm, and then I just like to kind of fish them out. You look for one that's turned upright. You can poke it with the end of the wire or bead string wire and feed it on. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not hard at all. And so I'm just going to feed those on. And sometimes you can just randomly stab the pile and pick some up if you're lucky. But if you're not having luck, you can just press the wire into the bead and flip it over. So I'm just going to feed on 2 1/4 inches here. So we just put a few more seed beads on there. And then I just want to check how much we have on the wire. And this is why, oh, I dropped a couple here. This is why we put the tape on the other end. So I slide these down to the end. The tape keeps it from sliding off. That's about 2 1/4 seed beads. Our clasp is going to go right here. So the next part of the necklace is going to be these pretty briolettes. And I'm just going to feed on 3 of these. And I just go right through that hole. You can see how there's a drill hole through the top of that pear-shaped bead. These are just glass faceted briolettes. They look like aquamarines. The color is aquamarine. It's very pretty. We've got 3 beads here. I'm going to slide this down. And the trick of this necklace that's so cool is because the briolettes have triangle tops, they want to flip over. So one goes one way, one goes the other, and then one goes back the first way. That's how they fit together best because of this little triangle shape at the top. So that's how it's going to sit on the necklace. It's really pretty. So we're going to do 3 of those, and then for this design we're going to do some more seed beads. And we're going to do about 3/4 of an inch between our sets of briolettes. I'm just going to feed on about 3/4 of an inch of seed beads. Some people count the seed beads on a necklace like this. They might tell you how many. That's just really tiny little things to count. So we think it's easier just to do the seed beads by length. So let me see how long that is. Slide those beads down. And that looks like it's about 3/4 of an inch of beads. So now I'll put on 3 more of our glass briolettes. And there's 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm going to do another 3/4 of an inch of seed beads. This necklace is going to continue like this with seed beads in between the trio of briolettes. We'll just keep going until we're out of briolettes. We have 24 total, so we'll have, once all of those are used up on the necklace, then we'll do a repeat at the end of the 2 1/4 inches of seed beads, so it matches the beginning of the necklace. So we have all the beads on our necklace now. We've got the 2 1/4 inches of seed beads, and then we've got briolettes interspersed with 3/4 of an inch seed beads, and then we finished with another 2 1/4, so it would match this end. And now we're ready to put on the clasp. And to do that, I'm going to work down here at this end of the wire, and we're going to use a clamshell bead tip, and to secure that we're going to use a crimp bead. So a clamshell bead tip is a cute little finding. You can get that at the craft store in the jewelry section or the bead store. There's the clamshell, and what we're going to do is we're going to slide the wire in through the hole. There's a tiny hole there inside at the bottom of the clamshell, and we feed the wire up through that. Then to secure it, we take a crimp bead. So this is a metal bead. It's like a little metal tube, and it's sold also with the jewelry findings. Slide that on, and crimp beads are meant to be crimped, that is crushed. And what they do is they're like a stopper. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to crimp it or crush it there onto the wire. I want to make sure it doesn't move. It's on there good. I'm going to use some wire cutters here to trim the end. And now I take that clamshell and slide it back over the crimp. It can't make it through that hole. The crimp bead keeps the wire from slipping through the hole. And now I can use my chain nose pliers to close that clamshell. And then that ends up looking like a nice tidy little gold bead at the end of the necklace. You can put a dab of glue inside that too if you want for added security, jeweler's glue. This has a little open loop here. We're going to use that just to slide on our clasp. This end of the toggle clasp has a little smaller opening. That's the part that goes through the necklace. I'm going to slide that into my opening, and then I'm going to use the end of the chain nose pliers just to roll that closed, and then I'm going to press it a little closed just for added security there. So that's one end of the necklace. Now that that's on, we can slide all the beads down to the other end of the necklace. We slide those. And we can take off the masking tape. It's a little bit easier just to cut off the masking tape than to take it off. Make sure these are all pressed together before you put on the final clasp. If one of these was flipped over, if this one was flipped this way, it'd be putting extra space in between your beads, and you would have too much looseness. The beads would slide around. You want it tight so that these briolettes go up, down, up. That's the pattern of the necklace. So that's nice and tight. And now we're going to repeat for this side what we did on the other side. We're going to put on the clamshell bead tip, and again we want to slide through the bottom of the clamshell through the opening. That way when we crimp the bead, it'll wind up inside the clamshell. You don't want to do it this way. That's upside down. We want to go in through the bottom of the clam. So there's a little hole there for us. Slide that all the way down. And then we want to take the crimp bead and slide it onto the wire. And this time, instead of crimping it where we are, we're going to slide it all the way down and inside that clamshell bead tip. I'm going to reach inside that clamshell bead tip, make sure we're nice and tight, and that's where I'm going to crimp the crimp bead. So I'm just going to give that a press, and that's going to secure the wire inside the clamshell. And now I'm going to trim the wire next to that crimp bead. You just have to kind of reach in there. It looks like a little tight space, but there's enough room in there to work. Cut that piece of wire. And then again, use the chain nose pliers to close the clam. And get that little extra squeeze. And then the last thing is to slide on the other end of the clasp. Slide that over the loop and use the chain nose pliers to rotate that loop closed. And we'll give it a little extra press so it doesn't come loose. So now we've got both ends of the clasp on, and we can feed the toggle in like that. And here's our finished seed bead and briolette necklace.